go into The Longest Day because why? I mean, one of the best episodes I've ever watched ever in my life. Do you want to tell people about The Longest Day? Why it was so infamous?
I mean, it was really it was an amazing time in the story. That episode was meant to be the episode where Dawson would finally find out about Joey and Pacey. So going in, that was what we knew. We had this one thing that was going to happen in the episode. And I don't know exactly when we decided that we were going to do something a little bit different, but it was really great because I have such a fond memory of this experience. Like, we went through and we put the story up on the board. And back then, the third act break would have been the big moment when something big has to happen. So I put that scene there at the end of the third act break, and it was Dawson finds out about Joey and Pacey. And then Greg Berlanti came in the room and he said, make the third act break the first act break. And so we moved that scene early, and then we started just playing with time in general. And we came up with the idea of the first act is the story from Pacey's point of view. The second act is Joey's point of view. The third act is Dawson's point of view. And the fourth act just continues forward in chronological time. So for me, it was really one of the best, most exciting moments in terms of just really everything coming together, the whole season and everything we were trying to do. And I still remember the table read of that moment. It really was an amazing moment because, by season 3, people don't usually read the script before the table read. So we were sitting there in a room somewhere, reading the script out loud. And I think I was the only person in the room who knew what was in the script. So I got to watch everybody sort of experience it. And when we got to the second act and it started over, I could see on everyone's faces that they were getting what we were trying to do. And that's the best moment. One of my sisters is a teacher, used to be a teacher, and she said that's a teaching moment, that feeling when that everybody's getting it. It was great.
It was season 3, episode 20, everybody. And it's funny because I don't know how many times I've seen that episode, but I had a burning question about this. And it might be just a simple solution that happened, but I'm and I never thought about this until literally during the pandemic, when I'm watching it again. And I'm that moment when Jen is telling Dawson about Pacey and Joey, and Dawson kind of immediately sort of guesses it. And he's like, oh, you mean, so what was the thinking behind that? Because I'm wait, how did he immediately, how did he guess that? I don't.
Oh God, this is going to look bad if I can't remember. Were there other moments where, didn't she say it? She's being incredibly sympathetic because she thinks he already knows. That's the thing that tips him off. So, honestly, I feel bad that I can't remember that one, but sometimes I will say that sometimes the problem I always found with Dawson's was that I never knew what was in the episode right before the one that I had written. Because when you were so focused on your own episode, you would sort of just zone out and maybe you didn't know exactly what would happen. So it could be within 19, maybe there's something that Dawson is suspicious or something. This is terrible. I'm terrible. I can't remember.
No, you know what? My friend, and she owes me this. She's I think there was a moment in the previous episode, and I was what is it? So she owes me. So I'll get back to you on that one, Gina. But,
okay.
The confrontation is so heated. That dialogue is incredible. Can you break it down for me as a writer, from a writer's perspective? How do you construct a scene that people have been waiting for the whole season? And if anything, the whole show they've never seen anything like this before.
That's a great question. Honestly, every time I write, but that was a particularly fun thing to write. For me, I remember particularly, I guess the confrontation in front of the house was actually pretty short. But for me, the thing I remember so much is Dawson and Joey's fight right after that, because it is the ultimate thing is to just really put yourself in each character's shoes and make sure they have the best possible argument, give them the best, and when you give everybody, and that was what the whole episode was about, really, trying to see from each character's point of view, what they felt. And, people, it was bad. I admit people sometimes don't. Joey got a lot of bad energy at that point because she was seen as indecisive, and I get that. But as someone myself,
TV, though.
you know, I struggle with like self-doubt, and making decisions is hard. And that's what we were really trying to show from her perspective, what she would, you know, what she would be losing and winning. And, you know, it was, I don't know, and you know, the whole show was a lot about dialogue. And so it was really amazing. You know, it was a great chance to,
oh my God,
to do that.
Yeah. And the ending scene with Pacey and Joey is like so heartfelt. Like, when they decide like they're breaking up.
The tear. I believe there is a tear there.
And was that a real tear?
I'm pretty darn sure that was a real tear. I'm pretty sure I was actually there that night in the cold, dark night of Wilmington. I think, because what I honestly, I don't know if I may have been there for every day of that shoot. And the director, Perry Lang, was amazing. And we had a good time.